This video, I'm going to be sharing with you the real reason that you chose to come to Earth at this time right now. I'm going to show you why it is the most potent and best time to be alive on the planet than ever before. And I'm going to share with you some things that I think could totally change your life. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now on this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing with you some of those things that maybe you forgot about why you came here at this time and really why it is the best time to ever be alive on the planet. Now I know this is kind of an esoteric type idea in comparison to some of the videos that I've done before, but I really believe that right now is more and more people are becoming aware of who they are. And when I say who they are, I'm not necessarily just talking about the ego part. I'm talking more so about the spiritual essence of who we are, the understanding that we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. Now, there's some things I'm going to be sharing with you. Some of them are going to come from books that were written by a lady named Dolores Cannon, who founded a technique that is called the QHHT technique, which is called Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, where she was able to get people to the deepest levels of hypnosis and brainwave activity. And what she would do is she would put these people using this technique into this state of being where their higher selves could come through, and out their own mouths they were saying things about why they incarnated at this time, who they are as spiritual beings having temporary human experiences, what some of the relationships in their life are about, whether it's karmic or it's just for the experience. And there's some very profound things in there. Now, she is someone that did her technique her whole life, pretty much from when she started her career. For about 40 years she did it, and there are thousands and thousands of transcripts that are in her books. She's got, I think, 17 or 18 books, and they show the real capacity of who we are, more so than just the ego self, understanding that we are so much more vast than we priorly thought that we are. Now, I've had this realization even before I read her books. I just had this knowing that on the planet and just in this time of being alive, first off, I believe that we chose to come here, even if we experience a lot of pain, even if we experience we don't know why, or like, why am I here? Why am I going through all this pain? A lot of times, if you're going through a lot of pain, a lot of times the reason that happens is because it causes pressure for you to then become more aware of some of the information that I'm sharing with you right now, that you are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And that's something I realized because honestly, I went through a lot of pain growing up. With just different experiences, and that pain was something that pressurized me into coming out of that and really integrating it and then having a spiritual awakening, which then led me to understand that this is a very potent time to be alive, and it's a time when the consciousness on the planet is going to begin to raise. So let me explain a little bit more about that. In the books by Dolores Cannon, there are thousands of people that have been interviewed, and even now after she's passed away, there are a lot of QHHT practitioners. I'm sure that if you look, you can probably find people in your city that do it. And what you can do is you can have it done, and you can find out all of this stuff about you and your soul and why you incarnated at this time. And some of the things have to do with knowing that right now on the planet there is just a transition. There is a transition from, in a way you could call it like a graduation from one state of consciousness to the next state of consciousness. They could say that it is from a third dimensional state of consciousness to that of a fourth or a fifth dimensional state of consciousness. And that it hasn't happened too many times in the past where a whole planet does it and all the people on it does it simultaneously with it. A lot of times, from what I understand and from these books, it's something that normally happens with a select amount of groups, some groups that are in certain states of consciousness. And basically what comes through with these books and through these people is that right now there's a graduation from one level of consciousness to the other, where more and more people are becoming aware. So there's been a certain cycle where there's been more duality. That's a lot of the 3D stuff. So when you think of 3D, think of polarization, think of that as you and this is me. And that's something that a lot of times will cause resistance within people. People get very triggered over it. It seems like there's a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of chaos going on because there is a letting go of the old systems, a letting go of the old paradigm in a way. And that was something that came through a lot of people that didn't know each other all over different parts of the planet when she would put them in hypnosis, and they'd say, right now, Jackie came because the call was made. There was a call to the universe that was made for people, for light workers to come here to raise the vibration of the planet, to raise the level of consciousness. Because just by a lot of people that are watching this, just by you being here and having the kind of awareness and being interested in information that has to do with metaphysics or doing what you're passionate about, you are raising the vibration of those around you. It's rippling out. You might not even realize it. And it's just having having that kind of awareness that is more of who you are, that you are multidimensional. Now, I know that sounds weird, but when you go to bed at night and you get these dreams and you say, oh, my dreams were just symbolic of things that have happened. Well, many times that's the way the brain interprets it. But in reality, even when you go to bed at night, you are doing much more vast things than you can even imagine. You are a multi-dimensional being. You don't just exist here. In a way, right now, you are dreaming that you are here, and this is a form of a dream. Now, I know that's a pretty elaborate statement, because am I saying everything is not real? Well, I'm saying the experience of it is real, but in actuality, we think it's real because our ego wants the certainty and wants to know that this is what there really is and this is who we really are. But in actuality, we are so much more vast. When we go to bed at night, we are more awake to these states of consciousness. We aren't filtering everything through our ego, and our ego can only understand certain things that are within its own belief system. So if you were to maybe remember that when you go to bed at night, you are perceiving of multidimensional type perspectives, then either maybe part of you wouldn't want to be here right now because it's so dense here and things happen so slowly, you know, in higher dimensional states of consciousness, which you have aspects of yourself there right now. It's you with a much broader perspective, much more abilities. Imagine you're able to, in a way, create things more instantly because there's less time, space. There's less density, so things move around a lot faster. Time exists the same way that it does right here. So it's really about having that awareness that you are just so much more vast than you priorly thought. And in all of these different transcripts, and a lot of other people, not just Dolores Cannon's method, but a lot of people that have seen these hypnosis type states of being that people get into, and they ask the subconscious mind to go forward, similar stuff comes through. A whole bunch of people never met before. A lot of times these people don't even have an understanding of it, so it's not even in their conscious mind. They'll see and listen to the recording later and be like, oh, was that really me? Like, I said all of that? And they realize that it is true, or at least true for them, because that is something that they wouldn't have consciously been able to make up that story of. And thousands of people around the planet are having similar experiences. So why is this time so potent? Well, in a way, what is happening is it's about an acceleration. It's just something, it's cyclic in certain ways. There is certain times that society and the planet itself will go through a transformation, a shedding of the old patterns, a shedding of the old ways of being, and then in a way ascend the vibration. So it's something that we are connected to, just like our bodies are 70% water, and we are made of the same elements of the earth. The earth is 70% water or more, and it is made of the same elements. We are microcosm, macrocosm. So we, in a way, are a connection. We have a connection to the earth. So we're going through something similar as well. If you look at solar flares, you look at the way the sun is changing. I don't know if you remember, but at one point in time, the sun used to be yellow, and now if you look out, the sunlight is white. It has changed. There are tons and tons of people. I know that seems like, oh, a small difference. It's almost like the frog in the boiling water. If you put a frog in boiling water, then what happens is it'll automatically jump out. But if you put a frog in lukewarm water and then heat it up, it'll boil itself to death. In the same way, the sun has been slowly changing. As the sun changes, the sun is projecting and changing everything that it touches. It's changing us. And the sun has gone from more of a yellow. Think of that as like the solar plexus type, the will, the desire. You know, we've been in such a long period of time, we've been moving forward as a society just with that will and that progression. However, that's gotten us so far with technology. However, now we're moving from that, we're moving more into a love vibration. We're moving more from it's considered a third dimensional state of consciousness to a fifth dimensional state of consciousness. And in the fifth dimensional state of consciousness, it's more about unity. It's more about unconditional love. It's about letting go of the separation that we have. Anytime we put labels, we're like, you're from here, I'm from here. All of those are labels of separation. In actuality, we are all connected. We're all immortal spiritual beings having a temporary human experiences. The color of our skin is just a suit that we're wearing for while we're alive. So really differentiating ourselves and saying, this is you and this is me and it's all just something that can make us unique, but it's not something that we have to identify with. So with all this being said, I believe that my purpose in life is to share a lot of this information to help you and a lot of other people become aware of who they are, of understanding that you aren't just the ego, just a lot of the things have been conditioned from an early stage in life. There's been things that have been going in a way wrong because, and this is going to sound kind of negative, but there's been certain influences, I guess you could say, on the planet where certain information is kept from the public, whether that be understanding that, this might sound kind of out there, but that there are more than just the human life form in the universe, that there are different beings out there. I know that sounds to some people maybe kind of out there, but it is out there. But nonetheless, it is something that the government has known about, and that a lot of information has been suppressed from the people. So it's really about this time of enlightenment where we're at least coming aware of these different aspects of our collective consciousness. And now with the internet, it's really hard to hide a lot of things because you got whistleblowers coming forth, you've got people talking about, I have someone in my family, for example, that worked for 20, 30 years for a base for what we consider the government or whatever we call it. And he said, he wouldn't talk about it for the longest time. He's retired now. They closed down that facility, wherever it was. And he said that the government for sure knows that ETs exist, like 100%. Someone that I trust, someone that wouldn't lie about it to me. So it opened my mind. I'm like, well, why hasn't this information been out there? They've been having some type of knowledge or information of it for so long. Well, there's certain purposes behind it, and it doesn't have to be negative. I'm not saying that we have to, think that it's negative and kind of send negativity to the people that are holding the information back. But when I first went through my awakening, to be honest with you, I went through an awakening, and I'm like, why don't other people know about the awakening that's happening on the planet, or the spiritual awakening, or why don't they learn meditation and all of these things? And I realized that it's just information that's been suppressed. There's scientific proof that if you meditate, you decrease cortisol, you increase serotonin, dopamine, that you feel better, that all these brainwave patterns, it's just better, you connect to your soul and your spirit. But everything in life seems to be kind of a distraction. It's like, watch this ad, watch this sports team and all this stuff. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying that we become distracted. And now we're becoming aware. And right now on the planet, I believe that you are here to go through this transition. Now, when I say transition, I'm not saying that only some people are going to make it. It's going to be doom and gloom if you don't make it. You need to get on the boat. What I'm saying is collectively we are all going through this together. I think it's more of an energetic type thing than anything else. I believe that the shift in consciousness we will feel differently about who we are. We will have more of this expanded state. We will start to feel differently inside of even our bodies. I've already felt it. Like if I feel what I felt today about 10, 15 years ago, I would think that I was probably on some type of drug, that I was feeling really high. And I think that that's not just like I'm better than anybody because I've raised my level of consciousness. I think the energy on the planet has changed. And because the energy has changed on the planet, I believe that we all have the potential to do that. And my intention is to help as many people as possible raise their vibrational state of consciousness, because as everyone else does it, it ripples out and everyone is able to do it together. In essence, it doesn't take 7 billion people to wake up for the world to change, because the energy of positivity is integrative, and it would only take a couple million people, maybe even less than that, to really make a profound change. I think that the next 20 years on the planet is going to be some of the most transformative change that's ever happened. I think it's going to be very positive. I think there will be some things that appear to be negative. I think that the 3D model for reality, think of 3D in the form of duality. This is you, this is me. Duality is power over others. It's a lot more negativity that holds people down. And then when you think of 4D, think of 4D like more of like the dream type state, more of, there still can be some good and bad, like polarization. And it's more of a dream. Things happen much faster. Manifestation speeds up. I don't know if you felt it, but I feel like things have really been accelerating with what I focus on and experiencing it. I think synchronicity will continue to experience more and more of that. And I think right now we're actually in more of a 4D type state if we choose to be. And I believe that in a way, to me, life has become more of a dream than ever before. I'm starting to remember more of the dream type state of some of the things in the higher dimensional kind of aspects of who I am. And you do the same thing. You might not just remember because it's not relevant yet, but you will eventually. And then the fifth dimensional is more of the unconditional love, unity. There is no separation. This is something I think we all brush into sometimes as well, but in the future, I think it will become more and more profound. So I think you are here right now because there's a profound change happening on the planet, that you are a part of it if you're watching this video right now, especially if you're still watching this video right now, because it means you're interested in it, and all the other people would have left by now if they weren't vibing with it. So I think that you can make a powerful change by raising your own vibration, by understanding who you are, by knowing that there are thousands of other people that are coming to this kind of, thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are starting to realize who they are at a deeper level, that there'll be less of a barrier between you and your higher self and your other dimensional existences, because you are so much more vast than you priorly thought that you were. And if you want, really, this is about raising your vibration. When you learn how to raise your vibration, that's when everything begins to change. I've created a free guided meditation that will help you to raise your vibrational set point. It's pretty much everything that I learned. I raised my vibration from about a 4 or 5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 feeling the best. I used to feel about 4 or 5 out of 10. I started meditating, started learning some concepts, and then it jumped to about a 7 or 8 out of 10. And ever since then, that's been part of my set point. Of course, it fluctuates. But if you want to learn how to do the same thing, there's a free guided meditation you'll see in the top of the description box below. It will help you to do that. But really, I just want you to know that you should be excited that there will be some things to let go of. There'll be some old paradigms that no longer serve. But in the end, that's why you're here, and it's a great time to be alive. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you guys liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification gear on the subscribe button so you see the daily vids that I do. That's the way YouTube does things now. You actually have to hit that button in order to see the daily vids. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and